My name is Dewan Jordan, and I am a life and business coach. And welcome to My Story Mondays. If you have not joined us before, My Story Mondays actually started because I am in the process of finishing my first book, and it's called My Life, My Story, Our Lessons. And in this book, I'm basically sharing short stories about experiences that I've had, negative, some positive, and the mistakes that I learned from those. I mean, the lessons that I learned from those experiences, and teaching other people how to find the lessons within their experiences as well. And so that's how this got started. And so tonight we're going to hear some love stories, y'all. I'm excited about this. I love love. And so I'm excited about hearing the love stories of our guests. So I'm going to go ahead and allow them to introduce themselves. And I will start with Kalisha Jones, and then we'll actually, yeah, let me start. Who want to go first? Chris or Kalisha?
You called her first, so go ahead. You
Okay, go
called her
ahead,
first.
Kalisha.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kalisha Jones. I am currently residing in Memphis, Tennessee, soon to be moving to Chattanooga. I am 35 years old. I am a high school business teacher, and I am engaged to the amazing Chris Sands.
Aww. I like Chris.
That was sweet. Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Sands. I am a sister pastor, community leader, author, founder of Grind Smart, and Chris Sands Speaks, and all that good stuff. And I am engaged to that lovely woman to my right, Kalisha Jones, and that is me.
Oh, so sweet. Okay, and then our other lovely couple.
I am James Gavin, 60, what? 60 plus years old, been married for over 30 years, going on 33 years, to my life's love, Yvette Gavin, sitting next to me. We have one son and one daughter in love and two adorable grandkids.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, welcome. Did you want to share?
Well, I'll just say, actually, we've been married 33 years. In June, it'll be 34, but that's okay.
You get past 25, it's just flying.
That's what they say.
There's something about that quarter century.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you once again for joining us. So I'm going to, I want to start off by playing a little game. And this is to see how well you know each other or how much you agree, one or the other. Agree or disagree. So I am going to let's start with our engaged couple. So Kalisha and Chris, they have been engaged for a couple of months. They got engaged on December 25th on Christmas Day. And congratulations on that. So we are so excited for you all. How long did you all date before you got engaged?
I'm gonna let Kalisha answer that.
I knew you were going to do
Good
that.
answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Gavin. Appreciate that.
It was a little over 2 years because it'll be 3 years in July. So about
Okay.
2.5 or so.
So you all know each other pretty. I hope you
Yeah.
know each other pretty well if you're getting married.
I know, right?
So I'm going to start with you all. So the way this is going to work, everybody, is I'm going to ask them a question, or I'm going to say a word or a phrase. And if they feel that it's them, they will point to themselves. And if they feel it isn't them, they will point to the camera towards the other person. Okay. So Kalisha and Chris, this is for you all. Who is the most patient? Who is the funniest? Okay. Most sensitive? Okay, we don't agree on. Hold on, I'm getting confused because going opposite way. Okay, that's agree. Y'all doing good.
Yeah.
Most organized. Okay. Who gives the best gifts? Would you agree?
Yeah, I get, yeah.
Yeah,
Who said I love you first?
I did.
He's by accident.
I was gonna ask this question, but I already know the answer. Who the loudest?
Ooh.
I already know that.
Yeah.
Who is the pickiest? Who is the who has the most bad habits?
Oh man, I do.
And who starts the arguments or disagreements normally?
By action or by word?
Oh, here we go.
You see me pointing
You
already.
choose.
You see me pointing. The fact that she had to ask that lets you know. Lets you know. Huh?
It's too
Okay.
early. It's too early.
It's too early.
Too early.
That's funny. I told them, y'all, I said, I'm coming to start trouble. I'm single, so I don't want nobody to be happy. That's a joke. I really do. But thank you for doing that. Let's see. Now, this couple has been married for 33 years. So let's see how well they know each other or how much they agree. And Nick Terrell said us men got to do better. Okay, so who is the best cook? I'm like, which way your fingers going? Okay. So they don't agree on that. Who is the peacemaker? Who is the best communicator? Who's the best listener? Who was the disciplinarian? Who is the most level-headed? Let's see. Who apologizes first? Okay, they don't agree on that. Who goes to sleep first? And I'm asked one more. Let me get a good one. Who is the most sensitive? Okay. That was fun.
Yeah, that
I
was
like that.
fun.
You all know each other pretty well. I wish we had time because I love games, so I would do more games. But we're going to go ahead and get to what people really want to talk about. So tonight we are going to be talking about the green flags of love. And I've been really, really excited about talking about this tonight. And the reason that I want to talk about this, because so many times you hear people say the red flags, the things to look out for, the things to be aware of or to watch for when you're dating, when you're in a marriage, those types of things that can warn you or predict something that isn't so positive, in the future. But you very rarely hear people talk about the green flags. Now, I will say that you hear people talk about, things to look for when you're looking for a spouse, that kind of thing, but they don't really consider it or call it green flags. Mm-hmm. So that's what I want to talk about tonight. Continue to join us. Thank you all. They're coming in here. So we're excited. Make sure that you all are engaging in the chat. We have, who is that? Let's see, I just saw somebody said, hey, beautiful roomie. Missy Tidwell Thompson said, beautiful roomie. So make sure you're engaging and you're talking to us in there. So let's go ahead and get started. So I want to hear some love stories. I love romanticism. I love all that stuff. I love romantic movies. And so really quickly, we're going to get the short version because I know when we start talking about our love lives, we just get, and we like to go on and on. So give me the short version. And you all can choose who's going to tell it, but tell me how you met and your love story. And who wants to start? You want? Okay, go ahead.
I'll go first because I love stories. So James and I both worked at CNN, and for those of you who don't know it by CNN, Cable News Network in Atlanta. I was always one of those people who were like, I'm never dating anybody I work with because I was so business, focused. But James asked me out, and initially I said no, but there was this incident at work. So I had this reputation in the newsroom of always like being this super, super great editor. And so I made a mistake on one of my scripts. And so he was a technical director, and I was a copy editor. And so I lay my script up for the anchor to read. We're on a break. He actually see it on the monitor, and I had a misspelled word in it. And he doesn't embarrass me or anything. He gets out of his chair, which a TD should never do that, and because the show could go black. And he come down and he whispers to me that there was a mistake. And I'm all arrogantly like, not in my copy. And he looked at me, he said, yeah. And I was like, not in my copy. Then he told me the word. I look on my computer and sure enough, I corrected. And just in a hair of time, I was able to switch out, you know, bad copy with the new copy updated. But it really bothered me that I had made that type mistake. So at the end of the show, I'm all sweating because nobody knows this mistake except for James and I, and then it didn't get to air. And he come down and he asked me out after work, and we got off at 11 p.m. And so I felt like, you know, you people talk about like the pity date. I was like, oh, a dog, the dude, you know, just did something really nice for me. And so I said yes, but it wasn't like I saw it as a date. He was like, you like to go and just have some drinks or something? I know you had a rough night. And so I said, yeah, okay, so I do, to be kind.
Mhm.
But it was at that, we had wings and a beer. I never will forget, it was Dugan in Atlanta. This dude, the conversation got so deep.
Mhm.
And I started realizing this guy's a whole lot smarter than he looks, you know? I mean, and he know this story.
What does that mean?
Well, you know, we all have these thoughts in our minds, right? Or an image of the guy that we think we want to marry and be with, right? And so my husband was a technical director. He's a college grad. He's highly educated. But at the time, I thought I wanted to be with that guy with the blue suit on, you know, in the big office upstairs. So that was that. I married the best man on this earth. I mean, I'm serious for me. So that started it because I had an opportunity to see a side of him that I had never seen in the workplace. And then the only thing is that, what did I tell you? I said, I'll only go out on a real date with you if you promise not to tell anyone at the station. And he's a very trustworthy person. We dated for like a year and a half before anybody knew that we were even a couple.
Oh, wow. How did you do that for you? That's hard.
Yeah,
We did it.
She was trying.
Great actors.
Trying to play the CNN field. That's what she was trying to do.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's sort of how we got started.
I love that story. I love that story. And while we're talking, I'm going to be looking down at my phone. I'm reading comments, so I'm not ignoring you all when you're talking. But Jermichael, TJ said, first of all, before we get to you, Chris, he said, think before you speak, Chris. And then,
You know, I already responded. That's why my face over here, because I'm trying not to laugh. I'm like,
And-
yes, sir.
Sarah Benson said, oh, I love this story.
Oh.
Chiwetta said 1.5 years. And then Denise said, great story. And I saw something Jermichael said. He said he waited until you were vulnerable.
It did.
It worked. It worked.
He was smart though. He didn't give up.
Yeah.
Probably how he got it, Amanda. So
A moment of
Chris,
weakness.
right. Chris and Kalisha, let's hear your story.
Kalisha, you better at this than I am.
So we have a mutual friend. His friend, kind of like my big sister, Stephanie. And she inboxed me and was like, hey, are you dating? Just randomly one day. And I was like, because I had just sworn off. I had canceled my little black book. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stop, you know, all of that. I was just over it. And so literally 3 days later, and I was like, no, why? She said, well, I have this guy. I said, is he a preacher? She was like, yeah. Nah, I'm good. I'm good on that. And she was like, sis, I promise you, he's coming to Memphis. Just get a meal out of it. Just get a free meal. Let him take you wherever you want to go. Get a free meal. And I was like, okay, let him message me and all of that, and we'll see where it goes. So he messages me real nice and polite, told me he had, you know, kind of looked me up and looked at my mutual friends and made sure none of his boys had hollered at me and, you know, all of that. And he was going too slow because I'm like, look, if today is Tuesday, you're supposed to be coming on Saturday. When you were asked for, we were communicating via Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, he's not asking for my number. Like, you talk about green flags, there was a red flag. I'm like, why can't we talk on the phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of insinuated, you know, you haven't asked for my number. And the very first time he called me, he was like, well, I'm only calling to ask you a question. And I was like, okay. And that's how he asked me if I would go out with him. And he came to Memphis on a ministry, something he had to do. And we met up and we went out to eat. first mistake that made it awkward, we got in the same car. And to this day, I still don't know why we got in the same car. You know, that's a dating no-no. But I guess since we knew so many people,
Yeah.
but it was so awkward. It was so weird. And then, so that started off wrong. We get to the restaurant and we began to talk, and it turned into like 8 hours of conversation. Yeah. So when it got ice cream, I guess he just couldn't get enough. You know, is that what it was, babe? You couldn't let it go?
You know, Jamaica said something that was real good. Alpha men are strategic. And, you know, I have
Lord.
That must have been a good conversation, 8 hours. But I tell you what, after an 8-hour conversation, you know whether you're gonna call her back or if you want him to call you back or not. Because 8 hours, you learn a lot about someone.
Absolutely.
So that's good. That's good. Okay, so moving on. So we're talking about love and green flags and things, but I want to know, so a lot of times when you're dating, you have people who always say, you know, especially women, people tell women to have that list. You need to have a list of everything you're looking for in a man and make sure that he has this and, you know, just have that checklist. Did either of you, and this is for Yvette and Kalisha, did you all have a checklist for the kind of man you wanted when you met him?
Did I?
You had a checklist?
Yes.
So did they match up to everything on your checklist? They did it. Okay, so I got a follow-up question. Now I'm going to ask the men, did you all have a checklist? And most times y'all have a mental one sometimes, maybe.
Yeah.
You had a checklist?
Mm-hmm.
Did they?
I can't really say I can't say I really had a checklist, no.
But you had an idea of what you liked and what you wanted.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you looking at the time?
I was.
Did you all met them?
Yeah. Yeah, I was.
Okay. So here's my question. They said that you all, they did not check off all of their things on their list. So my question is, what were the things that that they had that was not on your list that you didn't even realize you wanted or you needed at the time? Is there anything?
Definitely for me, and I'm so grateful because one of the things I used to pray for as a teenager, thinking about one day being married, was a husband who would be a great father. And it never occurred to me as a teenager and in my early 20s to be praying for a great husband. I focused on the great father. And what I know to be true today, I was focusing on what I didn't have as a young individual. You know, as a young girl growing up, my father's still alive. My father is alive, and he was in the home, but it was more the type of father I had hoped for as a young child. So I started thinking about, that's the kind of man I want. So for me, the blessing, because God says that he would do exceedingly abundantly above what we ask or think. And so I can say in my marriage, he really did that, because I didn't just get a great father, because James is an excellent father, but he's also an excellent husband to me. So that's why I say, yeah, I got that for sure.
That's good. You made a good point, and I'm going to say this before I go to Kalisha, but you made a good point, and you were talking about how some of your needs or your desires came from what you did or did not have as a child growing up. And I think that a lot of times that is how women and men, they pick their spouses or pick the people they're dating on what they did or did not have. And so unfortunately, the way that things are, a lot of times we're looking at the red flags and not the green flags. We're looking at the things that we know we don't want because we saw it, you know, in some kind of way. And we're like, this is what I don't want. But a lot of times we do that at the mistake of ignoring the things that were green flags.
Yes.
And so Kalisha, what about you?
I would say the number one thing that comes to mind is that he's not a ghoster. And what I mean by that is dating. Sometimes, you know, well, women, of course, we're more emotional. And I've had experiences where I've had disagreements with someone I'm dating or whatever, and they would just disappear. They would, like, you know, not call me for a day, 2 days or whatever. And by the time we do talk, it's like, where you been? And they'll be like, well, you were mad at me, so I want to give you time to breathe. Or, you know, I didn't like what you said or whatever. And one thing I can say about Chris is that he always shows up. So even, you know, and in the beginning, I was like, he's a glutton for punishment. Like, because because we'll be into it. I'm like, he calling me. Like, I don't think I'm gonna hear from you until Wednesday, you know? And so, you know, he always, regardless of I'm wrong, he's wrong, regardless of, you know, how I wasn't able to tame my emotions, he shows up.
That's beautiful. That's good. That's good. What about you all, gentlemen? What was not on your list that they ended up having and you didn't realize that you wanted it or needed it?
I think for me, it was her strength. She's definitely an A. She's a driver. And I think not that I'm kind of weird or anything, but my mom is a strong woman. And I admire a lot of things about my mom because, well, Yvette is a strong woman as well. Strong in a lot of things. She's strong in her faith. She's strong in her leadership. But she's a strong woman, but she also knows how to let me lead when I need to. Yeah. She doesn't have a problem with that. You know, if I say, if she wants something, I say, no, we don't need to do that right now. She's like, okay. And she'll pray about it. Lord ends up changing my heart toward it. So that's the secret right there. But,
I was gonna say, don't argue, just pray.
Praying woman, that's what it is.
Yeah, and she prays. She is very strong in her faith and her determination, and I really admire that. Now, I have to admit, does it get on my nerves sometimes? Yeah, it does. I mean, but that's another topic. But I really love her strength and her ambition and her desire and her willingness to step aside, being that she's an A personality. No, she's like, she can lead in corporate. She'll go at it in corporate. But when she comes home, she's like, okay, I need to step back. Yeah. I really like that. That's good.
And that's a good point, because you have to, you know, if you're an alpha woman or whatever out there, you got to know how to come home, you know, and submit and, you know, switch it. You got to be able to switch it. So I think that that's definitely a gift when a woman is able to do that. Yeah, so what about you, Chris?
First of all, let me say this. I'm excited to be here, DeJuan. Thank you so much for having us. If we haven't said that already, thank you so much for having us. Like, I'm sitting over here, my mind is just going, like, so many thoughts, and I'm reading the comments and my mind is going. I love this. This is absolutely amazing. For me, when it comes to the list, I really thought about the green flags. I really thought about that. And in our first initial conversation, I want everybody to understand that we literally talked for 8 hours. Like, it was an 8-hour conversation, ice cream, movies, like we just talked. I didn't even know I could talk that much, especially to a woman in the same day. Let me just say that. All right. I saw your face. All right. So check this out. When it comes to some green flags on the list that I did not know that I needed from her, spiritually, not trying to be deep, and she was self-reflecting. When you talk about the green flags, that stuck out to me, all right, because, you know, because of who I am and what I do, I have to lead a lot of people in that regard. But it was a relief and fresh air for me that I could have conversations about God and don't have to be deep. Like, I can still be me. And she got it. Like, that for me, it was like, oh, okay. Like, for real, like, we can go to a text and she'll get it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, like, you studied? Like, you a student? Did you go, you know, like, okay, I like that. But then I began to notice that I need someone who's self-reflecting too, that can see their downfalls in when we error. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's able to do that. And I didn't know I needed that because I was accustomed to, all right, it is what it is. And I shut down, period. But when she was self-reflected, it made me self-reflected. And we were able to come back and I guess that's why I kept calling back, because she was self-reflected, that it made it easier once she calmed down to have conversation to be able to say, okay, all right, cool. I didn't know I needed that. That's what I'm saying.
That's good. That's good. And the thing about you too, because you are a pastor, you know, and so that's a hope. Baby girl, I'm praying for you. but that's a whole nother level of something. You know what I mean? And I know this because I'm not married to a pastor, but my father's a pastor. My brothers are pastors. My grandfather was a pastor. So I know what that world is like. And it takes a special woman
My
to
God.
handle that position. It comes with a lot.
Yeah.
And I think, Chris, you hit the nail on the head. I met Kalisha several years ago when Jermichael had to preach in Memphis.
Yeah.
I met her one time. And I just remember she was so sweet. So when you got engaged, I had no idea who she was. I was like, oh, she's cute. I like her. You know, she's cute and all that stuff. And Jermichael was like, you met her? And I was like, I have. And he explained. And I said, you know what? I remember one time 2 or 3 years ago. And I remember one encounter with her because of her spirit. Her spirit was so beautiful. And I recalled who she was.
Thank you.
So that says a lot. So you definitely have someone special. That's for sure.
Thank you.
So let's go to the chat because I get so caught up in this. I forget about y'all in this chat. So y'all got to keep on coming so I can hear the dings. So Jennifer said, just be thankful, sis. Most men can't even hold a conversation for 1 hour. I'm way behind. Someone said, Missy said, forget your list. Go with God's list. I know that's right.
Amen.
This reminds me of something. I was on Instagram the other day and it was a post. I can't remember exactly what it said, but they said, we keep asking God to send us our husband or our wife, but what if they ugly? Like, what if they ugly and you have missed out on your husband or your wife because they ugly, but they have everything else that you want? Could you date, and I maybe I shouldn't ask this, but could you date somebody if they had everything that you wanted? The qualities and all that stuff, but they were not attracted. Do you feel like that's key, that you have to be attracted physically to that person?
Absolutely.
So if they're ugly, is that a red flag or
I have to be able to look at you. I have to be able to look at you. If you make my stomach turn, we can't do this.
Yes.
We can't do this. We can't do
Because
this.
and beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So I always say, if I don't think someone is not physically attracted to me, it doesn't mean that they're not physically
Right.
attracted to someone else, but it definitely would mean that they're not for me. He wouldn't have been for me. Because the man got to be fine. You know what I mean? You know, I'm just saying.
And you know what though, I agree with that because I really thought about that when I saw that. And I was like, you know what? They don't have to be cute to everybody, but they got to be cute to me. So,
Yes, and that's
you know,
all that matters.
when you make me mad and we don't agree, I gotta have something that make me
Maybe
like,
something
okay,
that reels you in.
you get on my nerves, you
Yes.
so fine.
Yes. And let's just
But
keep
you know,
it real.
but
I
you
know this is-
know, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, let's just keep it real because I know it is a public platform. So I would say it this way. There are just certain things like kissing and holding hands. You want to be attracted. You know, it's just like wearing a piece of garment. Nobody likes putting on a dress or a man or suit that he feels that is ugly. He doesn't feel good in it. He don't want it to touch his skin. If y'all follow where I'm going, you got to have some level of attraction there.
You do.
I mean, you know, we can see there are biblical references where, you know, people were attractive to each other. It wasn't just, you know.
What about y'all men? Y'all mighty quiet over there.
I'm gonna let Doc go first. I'm gonna let him go first.
Men, we are very visual.
Mhm.
That I think that sums it up. Men are way more visual than women.
Mhm.
So yeah, when I saw Yvette walking, you know, coming delivering those scripts, you know, in master control, and I looked down and I saw her walk out and she had on and then that leg kicked out, you know, behind that split in that skirt. I was like, yo, what's up? And then my friend knew her, so I asked about it. So I was like, yeah, okay. So
That must have been a nice leg 33 years
Oh my
later. You
God.
still remember it.
My
Yes,
God.
he's still talking.
Yes, Lord.
Oh, Chris.
We are visual as men. However, let me just be honest. I think that most men will be with a woman who may not be as attractive based on how she can make him feel.
Yes.
that plays a very important role a lot of times too. And let's be honest, we have seen some celebrities with some booger woogers, some booger woos. Let's be honest, because the pretty ones, a lot of times in certain industries, they may look good but don't have the characteristics to carry a household.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? So okay, so when we y'all excuse me, my baby's talking, baby. I know, baby, I got you. Okay, step out. Thank you. Love you. Bye. So when we come to the place where, even for that right there, there are some fine women who can handle that particular interruption.
Exactly.
But here it is. There has to be people, or a person that their characteristics can outlast the skin deepness of the outside appearance, if that makes sense. So some guys would prefer someone who may not be as attractive if they can do all the other holistic stuff, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're right on.
And I kind of want to put a pin in for single women. My friends and I used to talk about all the time, Lord, don't send me no ugly man. Don't send me no ugly man. Don't send me no. But I believe that the God who created us knows what we need. So he may not be your type, but the Lord loves you enough not to expect you to do life with someone that you can't look at. So, that was a concern of mine. I'm like, Lord, because the fine man just not acting right. That's a lot of kind of what Chris is saying, and while that's a blanket statement, but I just, in what you said, the Instagram post, that was something that I was afraid of. I know a lot of single women are, but I would like to, ease some minds that the Lord loves you enough not to sit you with somebody ugly, because don't be concerned about that.
And would you agree with this, that sometimes people look much better once you start to get to know them? Like, you said, they may not be your type, but what good is it to be sitting with someone who fine, but they're rude, they're not considerate, they don't care when they hurt your feelings, they don't spend time with you, they don't come home, all of those things. And so you have to have something of substance. And the thing with a lot of people, women on Instagram and just women in general, men too, is that we put up this persona, and a lot of times we think it's about our looks, but your looks might be able to get them. But if your personality and your character and your class and all of that stuff can't keep them, if they can't trust you, if they can't talk to you, if they're embarrassed to take you around their family or friends, looks go right out the door. Exactly. Or your attitude is ugly. So
you're right on with that.
So I'm going back to the chat. So let's see. Deandra said, I so love this. Great to see Black love. I love it too. Q said, I agree. It's a gift to be able to shift gears like that. Oh, you're talking about me. Thank you. She said I'm a good host.
Yes.
Mom said she is an awesome woman of God. I'm not sure who you're talking about. I think she's talking about all three of us. Sarah said, yes, for strong praying woman who can shift from work life to home life.
Yep.
And then Kayla said, my big sister truly is an amazing woman of God. Q said she's from Memphis, Maine. You did great, sir. Somebody said she's a keeper. So let me see. I gotta read Uncle Tim. My Uncle Tim, I have to read. That's Yvette and James' brother-in-law. Yeah. I have to read his comments before I say them publicly.
Right.
Let me read this. Okay, so ask Yvette, with her being a minister, how does that relate to the same thing as Chris? That's right, being a pastor.
From what perspective?
From what perspective, Uncle Tim? I think he's talking about when I asked just how, but were you a minister when you first started? That you weren't a minister when you first started dating, so it's a little different. So you have a different experience. What's your experience like becoming a minister after you've already been married?
So, and especially because I am his helper, right? So I know that's the word of God. Even as a minister, a spiritual leader, my family is my first ministry. Mm-hmm. So I had an opportunity to be an assistant pastor at a local church here in Atlanta. Before accepting that pastorship, not only did I pray to God about it, I talked to my husband about it. Mm-hmm. And so I knew that we had to be in agreement because we operate, according to scripture, in one accord. And James and I tell couples this all the time, it's not like we're super, super special. We are special, right? God loves us, but he loves all of us. But I read his word and I follow his word, and his promise to us is that the two of us, when we're in agreement, he's there with us. We got that 3-4 chord, and we move mountains with that. Honestly, we do.
Yeah.
That's the key thing.
Yeah.
So even as a minister, I am mindful of who I am as James' wife as well.
That's good. That's good. So let me ask this question. So we're talking about green flags. Hold on, let me go back to the chat. Oh, they are chatting away. I'm missing all kind of stuff. So it's a lot of people who really, they were really commenting on this ugly thing. My friend Kentara, she said, when I said he was ugly, she said, amen, I may have missed him then. She may have missed him if he was ugly. Jamaica said, beauty is only skin deep.
That's true.
Sometimes the personality can overshadow the looks. People are agreeing with you, Yvette. There's a lot of comments. I'm sorry if I'm missing y'all comments because I'm trying to scroll because we have a lot of questions to get to. I'm really enjoying this. Social media is just a highlight reel. I agree with that. Okay, let's get back to these questions.
Yes.
So when we're talking about green flags, we've already talked about several green flags just throughout the conversation. But if you had to name one green flag that made you say, will you marry me? Made you say yes, made you say I do, what would that one green flag be that you would say made you make that decision? Anybody can answer.
I'll go first.
Okay.
One green flag for me for Kalisha, I already said it. Well, two actually. There's a spirituality and how she's self-reflected. I really believe that when you're in her communication as well. I just gave you three. I'm sorry, but the mere fact that we can agree to disagree. It took a long time to get there, but when we have got to a place where we can agree to disagree, and we can be self-reflectant to ensure that we are good, that was a deal for me. As a communicator, as much as I try to communicate, and I'm learning still how to communicate, it's important that the person that I choose to do life with can communicate, self-reflect with me as we build towards whatever it is that God has called us to do collectively as it pertains to purpose. So when we look at the green flags for Kalisha, she matched those particular things that I didn't know I need for where we're going. And it made it easier for me to say, you know what, I can do this, and we can talk about some other stuff in a minute, but I'm gonna start there and I'm gonna pause on that.
Do you think that if you had met her years ago at whatever place you were at, do you think that you would have identified those things, or that would have been the green flag for you?
Absolutely
or do you think
not. Absolutely not. Where I was and where I am now, I'm not even the same guy. I'm not even the same guy.
I didn't have it years ago either.
Yeah.
I didn't have it years ago either.
Yeah. And I don't think we will. Let me say this. I applaud people who got married earlier. But to be engaged at the age I am now with what I know and even my life mistakes and the good and the bad and the ugly, I'm appreciative for this moment, and the green flags I am more appreciative to accept of her as well as myself because of the experiences that I have had. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now I'm appreciative that this right here was really a God moment. Because I would have acted out of my flesh and we would have been divorced a long time ago. You get what I'm saying? Yes. So then I didn't have the capacity, nor did I have the verbiage to be able to communicate and articulate as a man what my needs are and be able to meet her needs. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for maturity and the growth of life to even appreciate the woman of God that God has given me that I prayed for, but I didn't know I needed. And when I asked for it, he granted it the way that he did.
That's good. Well, you said so many things I want to touch on, but I can't go there. You got too much to talk about. Okay. What about you all?
Well, for me, I think the green flag was, well, one of them anyway, when I look back on it, I can't think of one time when we were dating that we had an argument. We didn't, when we started officially dating, but not official to everybody else. I can't think of one time we ever had an argument. In all of our conversation, we'd go out and we talk about achieving things, doing with whether it was buying real estate or what kind of home we wanted to have, how we wanted to raise our kids and stuff. Our backgrounds, she introduced me to her family. And that was really cool because I drove down to Greenville to meet our folks during Thanksgiving? During Thanksgiving. And it was, and I think she wanted some of the same things out of life that I wanted. We just wanted to go farther than our parents did. We knew, I don't know if we verbalized it, but we knew both of our parents were divorced. And we knew that was nowhere in the plan. Because we thoroughly believed in the covenant, at the altar, it's me, God, and Yvette, and once you make that covenant with God, it's forever. It's good, bad, ugly, whatever, so that's, that the green flag was definitely us having some of the same ideals and ambitions, and she laughs at my jokes and all of that stuff. She lets me be silly.
So I have a question. And I know everybody has an answer, but I got some more questions for y'all. So what is a green flag? So in every relationship, you're going to fight. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to have maybe arguments. Everybody argue different. Some yell, some just give the silent treatment, some actually talk it out, all of that stuff. But when you get in those places, what do you feel like are green flags when you come into those issues with your significant other? What do you think are green flags to show you that they fight fair?
Respect. Yes. And so James and I actually established rules around how we would communicate when one of us is disappointed or upset about something. And so we do get our voice and our feelings and thoughts out, but we do it in a respectful manner. Like I can be upset with him, but I don't have to call him something outside of, something loving or, on his name. And he's the same way back to me. It's like when he needs to sit me down and have like what we call those hard conversations, because every couple will have them, but we're still respectful. And I use the mindset of like, I've worked in corporate for a long time. I'm not in corporate now, but I was there a long time. And I thought about, when I had to discipline an employee or have a really hard conversation, I still did it respectfully and professionally. And I feel as if my husband, if I can do that in the workplace, I can do it at home. Honestly. And so, yeah, we do disagree. But it's how we have those disagreements, I think, is so important to me and is a green flag, because I can honestly say in 33 years, this man has never called me out of my name. He's never said anything that make me feel bad about who I am. He's never berated me or belittled me. We focus on what the issue is, or the incident is what I refer to it, or whatever that event was about, and how that action or my behavior made him feel. And that's how I go back with him. It's like, when you did this is how I felt. When you did this is what I was thinking, and and this is why this is important to me, that this doesn't happen again in our future. And he talks to me the same way.
And the good thing about what you said, it keeps going back to communication. Have to know how to communicate. And I also believe, setting those boundaries as well. And I think that a lot of people, they pride themselves, and I've heard many people say this, oh, we never argue. And to me, if you don't ever argue, I think it's how you argue. But I think if you never argue, then you don't really know the person, because you have to know the person. Like, I'd be a little scared you're going to blow up on me one day, because everybody disagrees about something. But I think sometimes that people just look at what an argument is. Like, if they're not yelling and screaming, we've never had an argument. You know what I mean? But I think that an argument allows people to say things sometimes, hopefully in a good way, that they normally wouldn't say, just on a day to day. But it's that communication and the way you say it, when you say it. Do you think that's a key component of when you talk things out and when you say different things?
Well, I would say yes. And I know this will be the last, I won't be the last thing I say tonight, but I'll stop after this. I know it's important because I can remember a time where I was so upset with James. I had made up my mind, I'm going to break every last one of them little rules that we set, and I'm going to give it to him as soon as I get in that house. And I promise y'all, I parked that car, walked up those steps, and I went to say something to him, but it's like the words would not come out of my mouth. Mm-hmm. And I know to this day, it was the Holy Spirit. And I say the Holy Spirit arrested me. And I always, like, when I need to relax, I go take a sub bath, right? Hot water in a tub. And all I could hear in my head was, just go take a bath, go take a bath. And we have this rule, when I'm soaking, that's my quiet time. It doesn't bother me. And so I went to do that. And then he come and knock on the bathroom door, and James said, "What are you doing?" Because I had just come in from work. And he said, "What are you doing?" He said, I'm starting dinner. I was like, our son was born down. So y'all go ahead and have dinner. I'm taking a bath. And as the Holy Spirit ministered to me in that bathtub. And what God taught me that night was that there's a time and there's a place to have the conversation. And I had too much anger. I had premeditated the whole everything. And so, it wouldn't have been good. So ever since then, that was back probably about 25, if not more years. I know today when I'm that upset, and it can still happen today, I step back and I just like, okay, I can't talk right now, but I'll let him know we need to have a conversation, but not now. And you've done the same thing to me. Yeah. He's like, "I need to talk to you about that." And I'll go like, "Well, let's talk about it." He's like, "No, not now." And we agreed that when one says not now, we're going to have the conversation. We're just saying, not this moment. I give him his moment, he give me mine, but we have a 24-hour thing. It's like, we're going to address this at least within the next 24 hours.
That's good. I like that. Sarah said, "Come on, Holy Spirit." I know that's right. Denise said, "Communication can't be an it's my way or highway kind of thing." Angela said, "Sometimes disagreements is healthy. Holding things back can become unhealthy." I agree with that. So what about you, Chris and Kalisha?
Kalisha, you can go first.
No, you go.
Yeah, this is a real thing. Let me say this: when I get upset with her or she going off or whatever, because we do argue, not like that. Mm-hmm. I don't call her by her name. But let me say this first: somebody with the initials T and J, that's a senior, told me to say something wrong, so that somebody I admire told me to say something wrong because I'm making everybody out of me look bad, is what I was just told. That's why I'm over here laughing. Shout out to him. That's my dude. But I'm trying to see how I'm gonna say this, but that's why I said what I just said. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I try to call her not by her name, but I call her woman of God. I be like, "Woman of God." God, listen, woman of God. So I have to call her that when we have moments of intense worship. You follow what I'm saying? When we have moments of intense worship, I call her woman of God to remind her of who she is in that moment, who I am, so that we won't go off on the deep end. Hello, somebody.
Oh, that's so good. Oh my gosh.
Chris, I'm gonna steal that, Chris.
You can have it, Doc. It's free. It's for you, Doc.
Hey, I got that.
Good.
I got that.
Yo, when I get mad, I call her woman of God.
I can see it now. That just shuts it down right there.
Oh my
Woman of God. Woman of God.
What does that do to you, Kalisha? Because I think that's amazing and that's awesome. But in the moment, I know that probably get under your skin sometimes. But it brings you back. I hope.
Hope.
It depends on the subject, because sometimes you could, that's fine. I heard you, but I'm still gonna say what it is that I need to say, and and it may convict me later. But right there in the heat of it, oh, you finna get woman of God and Kalisha and Danielle and whatever else gonna come right up and through here. Pray for me right in that place when y'all kneel tonight, because
please do.
That is so funny, Chris. But I mean, that is genius if you the man. But for the woman, that I don't know how I feel about that. I
Ooh,
mean,
girl.
See, Dewan, you need to get yourself together in your singleness to be ready for that woman of God, because it's coming. Huh?
And when it comes, listen.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, some people are cracking up in the chat. Denise said, I hope she responds with, okay, man of God. I know that's right. Do you do that to him?
Yeah, that's
No,
good.
she don't. I'm just playing. She do.
Let's see.
I don't
Shakira
know.
said,
No.
how can you stay mad at that? What's that now?
How can I stay mad?
Somebody said, how can you stay mad at that? She was just making a
Child,
comment.
easy. It depends on what.
I love it. I actually love that when it's not me. Dad
Right.
talks about teach preaching. Oh, Lord. Let's see. Okay, we got everybody saying, Chris, you did. Oh, what is that talking about? Chris, you did okay. I don't know.
No, I know what he talking about. I know what he talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jamaica said he's taking that. Oh, I want to be there the first time.
I'm sorry, Amanda. I apologize.
I love it. Okay, so let me see what else I got on here. Okay, so they say that when you marry someone, you marry the family too. And we know that that's true. When you marry someone, you marry the family. However, it's the two people in the marriage.
Yes.
I'm just gonna leave that open. Let's talk about it. Green flags. How do you handle that? And I mean, and I don't know why when I start thinking about it, red flags just keep coming to mind, because I guess that's what you hear all the time. But let's just talk about that. When you marry somebody, you're marrying a package.
Yeah.
So who wants to talk about that?
Oh, go ahead. You about to say
I
something?
was just gonna say, when I married into Yvette's family, I didn't have any problems. I mean, I was immediately accepted from the oldest to the baby. I just fell in.
Yeah.
I just fell in there. And I absolutely love her family. I love spending time with her family. They're my family.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're my family. Now, when Yvette married into my family, it was difficult to say the least, especially with.
Do tell.
No, I'll let you.
No,
because you can articulate it much better than I can. But yeah, she had some difficulties, and my mom had some issues and stuff. And my mom is while my mom is a very strong woman, she can be kind of controlling. And so we had to get to a point where I had to step in a couple of times and stuff like that. And she would try to manipulate situations and stuff. But I know Yvette will elaborate.
Well, y'all got that together. It's been 33 years.
Oh, yes. And I have a very loving, I love my Gavin family. Honestly, I do. And so we have a very loving and genuine relationship. We all do. But, the truth is the truth, right? I didn't feel, based on certain behaviors and words spoken, that I was easily accepted into the family. So what I did, and this, people, this is just who I am. I'm just keeping it real. I just took it to the altar, and I just finally said, I gave it to God. And I said, I know who I am. I knew who I was even back when I married James. And I knew I was valuable, and I knew I was a good thing. And I knew I didn't bring harm into this family. So I gave it to God, and I left it there. And I finally said to God, as much as I had hoped something different marrying into a family, I had this little storybook idea. Everybody's going to love me. I'm going to love them. And we're going to just be this one great family. We are that today, in all honesty. But it took, I would say, about a good 5 to 6 years before it really got there. And those 5 to 6 years sometimes were painful for me personally, because I was raised, you don't, to respect my elders, you don't say certain things. And so I would just hold things in. And we had said earlier, like in marriage, if you don't express yourself, that could be dangerous to you emotionally, and it can become very toxic. And that it had become for me. And so the Holy Spirit started teaching me how to really have voice.
Mm.
as a wife, even when it comes to talking to my in-laws and not just allowing anybody to just walk over me. And so I know this is a plug for my book, and this is an old book too, but in my book, What to Do After You Say I Do, this is my heart to another woman. And I talk about that relationship, and I say, I see it, God gave me this revelation. It's like a baton. It's like, you're running with it, and when you get married, his mother pass it off, should be passing it off to you as the wife. But if there was some problem in her own marriage or in her own mindset or her relationship with her son, it's difficult to hand it off, to his new wife. And so I think that's where we had that hookup. And so I just settled in on, I will treat everybody the way I would want to be treated. So you can say something harsh and mean to me, I'm going to give you love back. And in the process of doing that, I feel that God began to minister to all of us as a family. And my mother-in-law, I want to be totally honest, she came and she apologized, and I accepted her apology. I felt it was very genuine, and we've moved forward and never looked back.
That's good. I like that. Thank you for sharing that and being so transparent and honest, because I know it's a lot of people who probably have dealt with the same thing or are dealing with it in, their relationships, their marriages. And so thank you for sharing that. Kalisha and Chris, and now you all have a unique situation as well. And I mean, you could talk about it or you don't have to, but, meeting Chris is one thing, but you do not have children. And Chris has 4. And so you all have a unique situation, and he a preacher. So that's a whole nother thing. I'm gonna keep going back to that.
Pray for the sister. Pray for her.
I am. But no, so meeting Chris, that was one thing, and being a great guy. But talk about just, being able to, entering in a relationship where there is children involved and you don't have any of your own, that kind of thing. So.
Well, first, let me say that I am the oldest of 5 children. So it was my dad, my mom, and myself, and they pretty much gave me a parental role in the household. So I've, in essence, began raising children at a young age, to the point where my siblings, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, that whole thing, all the way to now. I have had an intricate part in my godchildren, my cousin's children. I am the auntie that has everybody's children. So while I don't have any of my own, I have several what I call heart babies that I love as my own, and their parents have allowed me to play an auntie role. Even some of them are not any blood relation, but I have several. So and when you look at your life, you can see how the Lord's hand has really orchestrated, because while I don't have children, I'm a mother. So when he brought children to me, I was already a mother.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, when he told me he had the children, I didn't bat an eye. What made me bat an eye was the preaching and the all of that, because my dad is a minister. And so I've done that. I assist my pastor at my church. I'm very much into ministry. And I was kind of like, well, Lord, I kind of want, just give me a deacon. Just give me, somebody who won't be in the bed on Sunday, but someone who doesn't have to be the one to unlock the door. I just want to and yeah, so the Lord pretty much let them go in one ear and out the other. So, when he told me about the children, I was like, okay, because I've always wanted 5. I've always wanted 5 children. Wow. And I was willing to adopt at least one. I've said that since I was younger. So for me not to have any, to meet someone with 4, it was like, okay.
Look how, that's what you were saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it just literally, the Lord just, and I don't know, people that meet me and, even in us meeting families, it took us about a year or so before we really, because we wanted to make sure that we could do this before we brought in, and our family members respected what we were doing. Because it wasn't just us. We have 4 children who had been through enough not to have a mother figure taken from them due to us not being able to use wisdom. So my thing was, I really wanted to see his interaction with the children, because I've dated men that are fathers that that helped create the kids, but they weren't fathers. So my thing was, how much of a father are you? So you have custody, or you are raising them with your mother, but what is your true role as a father figure? So I had to go into their environment and really see what it looked like, so I can know whether or not I'm called to support you. Because if you're a deadbeat, I can't do that. It doesn't matter to me how you got the kids. If you're not taking care of them, then I can't support you in that. And so Chris is an amazing father, and the kids are great. And we have taken time to really work in this family unit early on. We sat them down and we talked to them. His mom sat us down and she talked to us, and we've been intentional about how this works. And so when I do move and all of that, it won't be that much different for the children, because we've taken them on vacation. We take them by ourselves and all of that, so they can know. They allow me to discipline. So like if one of them has a bad grade, Chris calls me on FaceTime, and we together decide what happens with the children. We together decide, we have to have hard conversations. We do them together. He called me and said, hey babe, Trent said this today. How you think we should handle it? Put Trent on the phone. And because I am a disciplinarian, I can say, Trent, go sit down from Memphis. And she'll say, yes, ma'am. And she'll go sit down, because he allowed me. Yeah. He saw that I was anointed, because that's really what it is, to be able to walk with him in this journey. And it's not, the Lord just did it. It's just all there. It's all there is to it.
Chris, brother.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Woo, child,
that's good brother. I'm just listening to how God just orchestrates things and how he prepares you when you don't even know what you're being prepared for. Like, she's been being prepared since she was a child for her destiny. You know what I mean? And it's just beautiful. I wish we had a whole bunch of time to talk about it. It's beautiful. Did you want to talk about that, Chris?
Yeah, I do. Because, I'm gonna go to the family piece, and then I'm gonna talk about the kid piece. For me, coming into her family, I love her family. Like, they literally get together every Sunday, and it's like 40 of them in Memphis at the auntie house eating. I ain't even lying. Like, COVID or no, they gonna be at the house eating. You hear me? They're gonna be there eating, and I'll be like, give me a plate. And Mama Jones and Daddy Jones, I love it. Her mama feed me every time I go see her. Every time, I love it. Shout out to the Jones family. I love them. You hear me? I was more concerned about her and my family because of my dynamic. And this is me just being transparent and being real. I've dated people since even before her, and all this stuff. We broke up, all this stuff before. And a concern of mine was, I do come with a lot. I didn't ask for.
Babe, let me interrupt you real quick. For those who don't know, Chris is raising his sister's children. So these are not his biological children. His sister passed away unexpectedly, and he and his mom took on responsibility. So they're not, so I think that matters. They're not, his biological, but they are the ones that he decided to raise. Go ahead, babe. I'm sorry.
Thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people don't know, that.
They don't know the story. Yeah. Thank you for that. And, with that, when I have family within my house say this to me, and this is a true story. Chris, we thought you would never get married. We thought that there would never be someone who would gel and fit with our family. Because like I would date somebody and two of the kids like them, or the other two didn't, or one of them like, or they get the fussing or something, or they always had something to say. And that was something that I was conscious of, because even though it's not about the kids, if we're going to be a family unit, then I would want us to do this blended family together cohesively. And not only that, but it's not just my family, but there's a whole tribe, because my nieces and nephews have other family members, and it is important to me that their villages are included into our tribe in order for each one of the young people that we are raising to be successful. And when I prayed and I asked God, like, God, are you sure she the one? Show me for real, and make sure that it clicked, not just for me, but confirm it in my kids. It shifted everything.
Amen.
That's how it started happening organically, that I didn't have to do it. It sealed the deal for it. You get what I'm saying? So now the family piece that and the family man that I didn't know I could be, because, you know, I love my dad, but he wasn't there when I was growing up. You know, my mama has been divorced. You get what I'm saying? So I always desired to have a family dynamic that we break and shift generational curses,
Yes.
which is why I try to show up, which is why I try to be transparent. And I'm trying to model, get this, for the children that are in my house, what a successful marriage look like. And I'm not even necessarily married yet, but God has sent Kalisha to be a model figure that I didn't even know I needed to help blend the family for the young people to be successful when it's time for us to become one.
Oh, I'm getting emotional. I got goosebumps over here. Oh, that's so powerful. I wish we could just keep on going. That's powerful. That's powerful.
Y'all have
Like-
books and books and books
Yeah.
to get out.
We're actually praying, you know, about that, but we said we're gonna take it a little bit. The wedding, we'll be married in about 6 months or so. But even with that, the kids are asking, one asks, if y'all want to get married, why do we have to have a ceremony? Like, when are you moving? Like, they're ready to move this thing forward, you know, and they're excited. They were there at the proposal and everybody's crying, and you know, it's so yeah, we're talking about the book and this is new for me. I'm in the back type person. Like, put me in the back. I do the work, you go to the front. So even with this is an adjustment, but I recognize that the Lord has something that he wants us to say.
Yes.
And just because it's never been done doesn't mean it can't be done, and we're doing it. So because we're doing it, my yes to the Lord first caused me to say yes to Chris and what comes with him. And the platform is what comes with him. So, you know, I put on my lipstick and be cute, and I'll go where the man of God goes. Let's do it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Girl, y'all got my heart.
I know. I'm
That's
so
good
like,
stuff,
oh my God. I love it. I love it. Oh my God.
Preach
I
like
could
that.
talk about this all night. Like, I'm getting emotional, serious, so I'm gonna move on. But this is just beautiful, and I love all of you all, and thank you all so much. I don't even want to end it, but it's just so much. But people are going crazy in the chat. Like, it's so much I can't even go back. I see, come on, sis. I love it. People
Yes.
giving kudos to Chris. We love you, Chris, from Carla. Kayla, we sure do. That must be the fam.
That's my sister, yeah.
My dad said, Kalisha, welcome to our family.
Oh,
Oh, let's see. I am so proud of Chris for stepping up. Very proud. I mean, it's just a lot of people saying a lot of great things. And people are, I saw one that I really want to say. I think it was Sabrina. She said, I absolutely love you guys, and I don't even know you personally. So, I mean, you all, like you said, just sharing your story is blessing people. Both of you all, both of these couples are blessing people who are watching, and even the people who aren't able to attend live. We get tons of replays. And so people continue to watch it after this is over. And so I hate it, but they really enjoyed the topic. But this is a series. And so I'll be coming back and talking over the next couple weeks. And I'm going to do it weekly for a while the series is going. So you may be getting a call back, maybe depending on what the topic is. But my next topic is going to be, if loving you was wrong, do I want to do right?
woo, child. I'm gonna be tuning in.
That's going to be my topic. And so I'm going to have guests. And when I say that, I'm saying, you know, it's a song, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to do right. Well, a lot of times we know what to do. We know right from wrong, but do we really want to do right? We get in these relationships that we know God did not design for us and God does not have for us, but why is it so hard to break away? How do I break away? What are the reasons? What's in me that I can't let this go, or that I'm diminishing, or my value and that kind of thing? So we'll be talking about that, so stay tuned. But before we go, once again, thank you all so much. It's a couple things I want you to do. We're over time, but I don't think they tripping, because we up to 50 people.
Awesome.
Wow.
So that's still good. They still, we overtime, and there's still 50 people on here. So before we go, I want everybody to share an encouraging word. And then I also want you all to share anything that you have going on. I know, Yvette, I asked you to share your book. You did that a little bit, but I want you to just let them know where you can get it. Yvette and James, they do marriage coaching and that kind of thing as well. They do a lot. And so I want you all to share that. Chris, anything you all have, Kalisha, just go for it. So Yvette and James, you do it first, and then say the encouraging word and just tell us what you got going on first.
Okay, you do the encouraging word. So my book is What to Do After You Say I Do, and it's Mastering the Secrets of a Thriving Marriage. And again, is, my heart to a woman who is married or is planning to be married, like being engaged. And then the couple work that James and I do together is marriage coaching. We love working with engaged couples, and we also work with couples who are going through a crisis. And I also mentor women one-on-one. So if, sometimes the couple doesn't want to be in mentoringship, but maybe the wife does. And so I only mentor women one-on-one. So that's what we're doing there. And the closing encouraging word.
Well, yeah, I've got the encouraging word. I think what I have to say to anybody, and I think my thing is basically trying to talk to guys and relate to guys. And for the guys out there, how in a relationship, if you really feel like that's the person for you, how important is it for you to always be right?
Mm-hmm.
We all need to practice some deference, the willful submission of one's needs and wants for the needs and wants of others. And we can all just let stuff go, because really, if you think about it in life, stuff's really not that important if you get down to the basis of it. It's not about you. It's not so important for you to lose your relationship with the woman that you're with or the woman that you think you're going to be with.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it go. Blow it off. Pray about it. Go about your business.
It's called a woman of God.
Yes.
Yep.
That's good. Thank you. That's awesome. That's an awesome word. Thank you so much, Chris.
Oh man. Well, encouraging word. I would say.
Hold on. I'm sorry, real quick, Chris. That they're asking in the chat, how can they get your book? Can you put in the chat?
Yes, and it's on Amazon.
It's Amazon, y'all.
Yes.
Okay.
What's the name
Sorry
of
about
it?
that,
What's the
Chris.
name again? What's the name of it?
What to Do After You Say I Do. Now put it in the chat.
What to do after you say I do.
Come on, CNN voice. I love it.
Yes.
Chris, sorry about that.
Oh, no, you good. Encouraging word. My encouraging word for everyone listening is know your worth, know your value. It's okay to wait. I know coaches say you need to get it fast, you need to do this, whatever, but delay does not mean denied. And I really want us to understand that our worth is so important. I would rather wait to be with who God wants me to be with than settle for the decision that I made. You know, and it's better to be with a whole half than a half whole. I'm done.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that, because that's actually something I had planned to talk about. I really wanted to talk about waiting and godly waiting, but we didn't get into that. So thank you for saying that. Yeah. And he also, tell me about Do It Scared.
Oh man. All right. So Do It Scared movement is literally, it started 5 years ago with what we're currently doing with the kids. Like I literally uprooted my whole entire life in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I was there 11 months, 29 days. I loved Hattiesburg. Shout out to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and West Point and all my people there. But moved from there to Chattanooga, literally to raise the kids and be back home. And I said, God, I'm gonna need you to do it. And what he kept telling me to do was do it scared. And that became not just a motto and a mantra. That's what I live by every day. Fear is the false evidence of things appearing real, and that's not what we living in no more. Like, in order to do what God called us to do, we gotta do it scared. A couple of books. First book, I Can't for Broke Folks.
Hey.
Mindset of what you say you cannot do. And the new baby, I Am Valuable. You can get this off of www.chrissands.org. And I got another project working with two people. My brother and sister TJ and LaQuisha Ewing, something coming out real soon. And shout out to We Over Me as well as Grind Smart. All right, I'm done.
All right.
Thank you. See, y'all, I was really strategic with the people I brought on here. I didn't want to just bring y'all nobody in here just want to be talking about their love life. They need to have something going on. They're coming with all kind of education. They have a lot going on. So after this is over, go check them out on their social media pages. When this is over, I want everybody to drop their contact information. You put your book in there so people know how to follow you and get in touch with you. And Kalisha.
Well, my encouraging word, I guess, is what I'm learning and have learned on this journey is that, and this is because my heart is for singles, because everyone wants to say, embrace your singleness. All this singleness was hard for me. It's hard when you have a desire and you feel like God is not listening. And you see all of these people getting married and, and all this is going on. It's like, God, I'm doing your will. I am in church. I am doing all of this. When is my time? When is it? And, and I used to want to tell married women to shut up. Like, you can't tell me nothing because you go to bed and on the other side of my bed is closed. You have a man, so you can't tell me anything, right? And so, but what I'm learning on this journey is that marriage and engagement, while it's all fun and all of that, it's not a reward. When your time comes, it's just what's next. So you don't operate in your singleness trying to get the reward of a man, because let me tell you something, what I am getting when I say I do, baby, my bishop says the reward for good work is more work. So the Lord is elevating me to more work. I have more work, a wife, and everybody's asking, how are you going to do it? The Lord. Yeah. That's my only answer. So what I have to say for men and women is that even though we're on here and it sounds good and all that, it is work. And the Lord equipped me for this work in my singleness, kicking, screaming, crying, all of that. It was all preparation. So take the preparation, because you never know what the ending is going to be. And if you believe in the Lord and you are his child, he hears you. And the Bible says that he will give you the desires of your heart. So your desire is coming. But in the meantime, whatever your meantime is, do it and do it well. And if you do it well, the Lord will bless you well.
Amen. Yes. That's all I
have. I started throwing my shoe.
Hey, when a date for the initial sermon?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That was awesome. Thank you all so much. I really do love y'all. I really appreciate you all. And you all are inspiration for us singles. And when I say single, I don't mean you ain't got nobody. I mean, you're not married, So thank you all for coming on here and sharing with us. This has been beautiful. I cannot wait to go back and watch the replay, because when you're hosting and talking, you miss a lot of nuggets a lot of times. And so I know every time I go back, but tonight I'm going to go back. I'm probably going to through this phone in the wall. So thank you all. Thank you all. This has been wonderful. It has been very, very powerful. I love you all. And until next time, you all take care.
And thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
you very much.
Nice to meet you all.
Yes,
thank you.
You too.